Hi, Team Five. So in a moment, you'll see the feedback from Sherry and Ivan on your presentation. The sound is terrible on yours. I don't know why. Again, about halfway through it, it really gets bad. And using the same device, same system. So let me summarize what I heard, and then if you have further questions, you can ask me. What I heard from them was they really like the idea of the flex pack. And particularly from Sherry, what she said was she likes the idea of meeting people where they're at, bringing them into the theater based on something that's already an interest for them. Um, and so great, great idea in terms of reaching a broader demographic. A great way to do it with a lot of flexibility. So I think there was a lot of interest in your idea. That said, in terms of the opportunity for creativity, if you think about novelty and usefulness, I think that Ivan mentioned this is a common idea, the idea of the flex pack, and where the opportunity for creativity lies seems to be more within which flex pack you develop and how. So, for example, he really cued into two ideas. One was the corporate pack, and the other was the one with the bus that came from Soup. And so, for example, what might happen in that bus experience? Or the corporate pack, what he said, I'm not sure if this is audible on the tape, what he said was, it has to be more than just companies buying something for their employees. There seemed to be in both those ideas a real opportunity for creativity. So if you choose to, as you're writing your paper and you're reviewing your recommendation, that could be a further direction that the panel indicated was of interest. Let me just look. They both did have questions about your numbers at the beginning, and you won't really, you don't have to go into that. That was just something to mention about the 120% to 170% of price of each pre-sold ticket. All right, so in terms of next steps, that is one possible one. In terms of the process, your process looks very solid to me, and it looks like there was a really strong process in place with attention and focus paid on both divergence and convergence. So I'm really, going to look to you from your paper to tell me what you felt was particularly strong, where there were areas of growth. In terms of, I'm particularly curious, your group did quite a bit of anthropological research. And if it's something you want to pursue in the paper, I'd be curious about what effect did it have, if any? How did it ultimately inform your creative process and your ultimate recommendation? And if it didn't inform, well, then why not? Well, then how assuming that this kind of research is valuable, in what circumstance would it be done, or how would it be done in a way that's valuable? So, I'm just trying to think if there was any. I made notes as we were talking, and I was going through your process. I was curious about the link between the promoting of leadership in your BHI, that to promote leadership on the national stage, I think it was, and your idea, around FlexPass, about the link between those things, and whether the link between clarification, if whether it was aligned. Small comment, but otherwise, really good work. Very strong interest in your idea. So please let me know what went right, and as well as areas that you think you'd in moving forward in creative process want to change. Thank you. Hi, Team Five. We're sitting here with Ivan and Sherry, and just reviewing your idea of a flex pack theater and a flex pack for ticket sales. And Ivan, you had a few thoughts on this idea. You want to speak to that?
Sure. So I thought overall the concepts were good, especially a couple of the concepts. The sampler pack is something that's been talked about in other organizations for something similar to the sampler pack. The idea of packaging it as as an actual package of tickets is interesting. Where sampling has been done before, it's generally been to a targeted group as a one-off kind of thing. But the packaging of it as an actual kind of subscription or pseudo subscription package is interesting. And the corporate pack was also interesting to me in that I think that it was developed a little further and thought of as not just a way of, hopefully getting a company to buy tickets for their stuff, but talking about it as a way of engaging team building or talking about it as a professional development opportunity. So there would have to be some ancillary kind of programming or ancillary activity associated with the show. I think that just going to a company and saying, hey, you can do this, which is going to do much. But certainly the concept of the package as an overall experience is very interesting.
They're coming in under the guise of something they're already comfortable with. People who are already comfortable going out for dinner, for us to consciously combine that. I know one of the suggestions that sometimes comes up in theater is dinner theater, create dinner theater, which is not an option for us. But for us to create packages where people do have dinner and then theater, there's something interesting about that. I turn it over to Ivan to talk about the economics of that. But that element of it is interesting to me. Even the shuttle service from Stewart to Langford to Colwood, I think there's a camaraderie that comes with that. There's the coming with a group that are all doing something new and interesting. That there's something really exciting about just the basis of that. Having people come in connected with something else as well as the theater.
Would you say what I'm hearing from you is the idea, from both of you, is the idea of FlexPack seems like a good direction, but that there are some concerns about the execution, that you're not sure either how it's going to happen in more detail around the corporate or how much it would cost to do the shuttle, what it would look like. Would you say that perhaps the idea of a FlexPack is a good starting point from the clarification stage? How can the Belfry provide flexible packages, but that would be helpful for you to have more development around what the specifics of that?
Yeah, I think that from my perspective, like I spoke to the two particular packs because I think that the general concept of a flex pack is pretty well established in the industry and in other industries as well. You can buy flexible packages. The more interesting part of it for me was the concepts of specializing those packages. So the bus coming in and what you would do with that, and in fact how you would use it. Like for me, exploring that idea would include not only what its cost factors are. Sorry, I'm leaning wrong way. Not only what its cost factors are, but also what you would do with that bus experience. Because just shoving a bunch of people on a bus and waiting to arrive at the Belfry is one thing. Shoving people on a bus and coming down to the theater while you're engaged in a conversation about that trip is a different experience entirely. So I think that there are some things that could be developed there. In terms of the corporate, as I said, I think that again, there's evidence in other organizations, other performing arts organizations that use their expertise for team building exercises for corporate development and professional development. And I think that those kinds of things combined with a ticket package could be interesting. So I think there's room there for development. I think that there's some cost analysis that has to be done. I don't think that it's a free kind of thing. I think that there are costs associated with introducing it. They may be relatively low or not. Something like a bus requires transportation. It requires that kind of organization, and you have to determine whether you're doing meeting points or whether you're doing individual pickups or there's a whole of issues that need to be concerned now or considered, but as a concept to start with, it's an interesting one, much like the corporate ones that worth kind of more discussion. And just because Sherry didn't mention it, I'll mention it. We talked about this off camera. We're a little unclear of the basic statistical information that we start with, which is how you capture 120% or 107% of revenue. So a little clarification on what the team actually means for that.
Okay, thanks. We could clearly talk about this idea for much longer, but let's move on. Thank you so much, team. And thank you, Ivan and Sherry. Now.